On this Tuesday night, Israel strikes Qatar. The attack on Doha targeting Hamas leadership and ceasefire negotiators.
They perpetrated the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust,
triggering an international chorus of condemnation. A Canadian city declares a state of emergency over homeless encampments.
If folks want help, we want to be able to help them.
What the unprecedented step empowers the local government to do. Taking a bite out of Apple. The U.S. tech giant unveils its newest iPhones. Will tariffs dial up the price? Plus, out of the woods. The injured, orphaned Lynx cub getting some TLC in Manitoba.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with a major escalation in the Middle East. For the first time, Israel launched a strike in Qatar, the capital, Doha, targeting the political headquarters of Hamas. The group's leaders were there taking part in negotiations over a ceasefire proposal for Gaza.
We are just learning about the Israeli attacks in Qatar, a country that has been playing a very positive role to achieve a ceasefire and release of all hostages. I condemn this flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar.
The UN and a long list of world leaders, including Canada's Prime Minister, condemned the attack as an affront to Qatar's sovereignty and peace negotiations. As Redmond Shannon reports, the attack is also putting the White House at odds with one of its closest allies.
A fireball in a normally quiet residential part of Qatar's capital, Doha. Israel immediately owning up to an unprecedented operation in a country that has been mediating Gaza peace talks for almost 2 years. Qatar has been a base for some Hamas leaders since long before the October 7th attacks on Israel.
At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise.
Qatar's Prime Minister called Israel's attack state terrorism and that there should be a retaliation from the whole region. Hamas says 5 of its members were killed, but all of its leaders survived, men who had reportedly been considering the latest US ceasefire proposal for Gaza.
I think it means that any real negotiation process is dead for now, at least. And I think it demonstrates that Israel's not interested in that.
On Tuesday, Israeli forces ordered the full evacuation of Gaza City as they move ahead to occupy the already obliterated city. Outside of Gaza and the occupied West Bank, Israel had bombed 4 other countries in the past 2 years. Qatar is the 5th. Qatar is home to the largest US military base in the Middle East.
Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States, does not advance Israel or America's goals.
The White House says it learned of the attack just before it happened, although Qatar says it only heard from Washington 10 minutes after the strike.
The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
A group representing families of Israeli hostages in Gaza reacted by saying the fate of their loved ones now faces greater uncertainty than ever before. Jeff?
Redmond Shannon in London. Thanks, Red. This was the moment a flotilla carrying aid for Gaza was reportedly struck by a drone. The ship was in Tunisian waters. A number of pro-Palestinian activists were also on board, including Greta Thunberg. No one was hurt, though, but the ship's main deck and storage were damaged. Tunisian officials disputed the claim that a drone was involved, saying a fire broke out on the vessel. That flotilla is part of an international initiative, which it says includes delegates from 44 countries, including Canada. Citing security concerns stemming from Israel's war in Gaza, Tennis Canada says the match between Canada and Israel at the Davis Cup will proceed in Halifax on Friday, but it will now be closed to spectators. In a statement, Tennis Canada says intelligence received from local authorities and national security agencies, combined with disruptions witnessed at other recent events, both in Canada and internationally, indicated a risk of significant disruption to the event. The statement says Tennis Canada was forced to conclude that playing behind closed doors was the only way to both safeguard those involved and preserve the event itself. At least 24 civilians have been killed by a Russian airstrike in eastern Ukraine. 19 others were injured in the attack. Officials say the victims were collecting their pensions in a village just a few kilometers from the front lines. The Kremlin denies targeting civilians. Nepal's prime minister has resigned after mass anti-government protests that turned violent. The PM's resignation failed to quell the demonstrations. Tens of thousands of people blocked the roads, set government buildings on fire, and physically attacked some political leaders. Those protests began yesterday when at least 19 people were killed by police who fired into the crowds. Protesters say they're angry over the state of the economy, corruption, and the government's decision to ban some social media platforms. That ban was lifted today.
It is very good for our country. Now I think like us youth will stand and develop the country.
Nepal's main international airport has been shut down and flights are being diverted. Canadians are being advised to avoid non-essential travel to that country. The city of Barrie, Ontario, just north of Toronto, says it can no longer cope with the opioid crisis and homeless encampments. And today, the mayor took the unprecedented step of declaring a state of emergency. The move grants city officials new powers to crack down on homeless encampments, which the mayor claims pose a threat to public safety. Our Sean O'Shea is following that story in Barrie tonight. Sean.
Jeff, the city of Barrie has done what no other Canadian municipality has done so far, declare a state of emergency to try to shut down encampments. In the city of Barrie, 90 kilometers north of Toronto, this is how some people are now living, in tents beside downtown streets. The municipal government wants this to end and is taking unprecedented steps to make that happen.
It's giving us more resources to be able to take on what we know is a massive emergency.
So Barrie has declared a state of emergency, tapping additional legal powers to force unhoused individuals, many with addictions, to move.
The intention is to help people get into service, and if they don't get into service, they're going to be receiving trespassing orders to move on.
Earlier this summer, the city put up trespass notices at this park and ordered those living inside to leave.
A lot of those people are my friends, and they only had 24 hours to move, and there are so many homeless people in this city.
When you close or, shut down one encampment without actual viable options for people are just going to relocate to wherever they can in order to survive.
Many moved downtown near the local courthouse. This restaurant owner says their presence has been bad for business.
Mostly family don't want to come here in the business because they are scared for everyone.
Just hours before he spoke to us, vandals backed a vehicle through his front window. Now he says he's closing his business permanently, citing safety.
People just want people who are unhoused to disappear. And that is often what we associate with safety.
It's, thank you for moving forward and taking a firm stand.
The mayor says his city's tougher approach to the unhoused is popular with constituents. He sums it up like this.
If folks want help, we want to be able to help them. If they don't want help and they want to live in addiction or in a tent on the side of the road, they need to go somewhere else because this ain't the place for that.
The goal, according to the mayor, to get people out of parks and off the streets. The state of emergency, he says, will be in effect as long as necessary. Jeff.
All right, Sean O'Shea in Barrie, Ontario. Thanks, Sean. The federal government is investigating a cyber attack that exposed email addresses and phone numbers linked to accounts with the Canada Revenue Agency, Employment and Social Development Canada, and the Canada Border Services Agency. The government says a routine software update created a vulnerability, allowing hackers to access the contact information for users who logged into their online accounts between August the 3rd and the 15th. Some users then received spam text messages containing links to fake government websites. The government says no other personal information was stolen. The federal Liberals kicked off the first day of their caucus retreat in Edmonton. The meeting comes ahead of Parliament's return next week. And no surprise, Trump's trade war is topping the agenda. The Prime Minister is promising billions in funding to transform the economy and support Canadian industries hardest hit. But as Mackenzie Gray reports, Mark Carney is also facing fresh questions about how he'll pay for those promises.
lighthearted liberal.
Hello. Am I supposed to do?
My summer has been excellent.
Gathering in Edmonton to define their political path forward.
I think it's important that we stay focused on the end game. It's a game of chess, and no one's better a chess player than Mark Carney. Thank you.
Impacts on Canada.
The Liberals' grandmaster trying to balance the U.S. trade war and domestic issues.
D'austérité.
Leading Mark Carney to use an often avoided political word, saying the October budget will be an austerity document.
I'm very confident.
A label the finance minister wouldn't repeat.
People will see that we'll have ambition in our investments and we'll be bringing a lot of rigor when it comes to our expenses.
The Liberal platform promised a $62.8 billion deficit this year, but that included $20 billion worth of counter-tariff revenue from U.S. goods, a policy that has almost been entirely dropped.
I don't think this government can wave a magic wand and make everything disappear. I think we have to keep as much fiscal dry powder as possible.
To try and increase that fiscal power, Carney is now promising major cuts, a 15% slash to the civil service over 3 years, something Carney didn't campaign on. And one Ottawa area MP says those cuts aren't a done deal.
I'm engaged with constituents talking about changes that may be coming. Of course, the budget deliberations are still going on, so those decisions are not being made.
The Prime Minister wasn't at Tuesday's meetings, Jeff, but he is expected to arrive later in the evening for 2 further days of deliberations with his caucus.
All right, Mackenzie Gray in Edmonton tonight. Thanks, Mac. The White House is firing back after the release of a screenshot of what appears to be a letter signed by President Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, celebrating the convicted sex offender's 50th birthday back in 2003. The White House claims the letter is a fake, and Democrats are concocting a hoax to smear the president. But as Jackson Proskow reports, that letter wasn't the only thing uncovered by the House committee.
This is the birthday message allegedly crafted by Donald Trump for Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. We have certain things in common, it says, inside a drawing of a naked female form. May every day be another wonderful secret, it adds, above what appears to be Trump's signature.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot.
I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women, that I can tell you.
Despite White House denials, the signature appears to match Trump's on other letters sent during the same time period.
The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter.
The drawing was contained in a birthday book prepared for Epstein's 50th birthday before he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor. The book also included a message, allegedly from former U.S. President Bill Clinton, and this photo that appears to be a joke about Epstein selling a woman to Trump for $22,000.
This is a Democrat hoax that never ends.
The material was obtained by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, along with other records from Epstein's estate, part of a broader push for the release of the full Epstein files after the Trump administration backtracked on a promise to make them public.
And if Republicans don't want to engage in a cover-up of pedophilia and this pedophilia ring, they should go sign this discharge petition.
Trump and his allies keep trying to change the channel, at one point even claiming Trump was secretly working against his longtime friend.
He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
I can affirm that is not true.
The shifting explanations and increasingly damning evidence have done little to quell the questions about Trump's involvement with the notorious sex offender, a story that seems unlikely to go away anytime soon. Jackson Proskow, Global News, Washington.
Will U.S. tariffs increase the cost of new phones? Coming up, Apple unveils its latest products and their price tags. Well, anytime tech giant Apple unveils new products, there's always plenty of anticipation and excitement, and today was no exception. But much of the focus leading up to the event today was on iPhone prices and whether they would increase as a result of President Trump's tariffs on China and India, where Apple manufactures most of its devices. And Gabiola reports on whether the trade war is taking a bite out of Apple's bottom line.
Powerful, yet so thin and light, it seems to disappear in your hands.
The newest addition to the Apple smartphone family, the iPhone Air. Thinner, more durable, packing more power. To retail for $1,000 US.
iPhone Air is a total game changer.
Along with a slew of iPhone 17 options, starting at about $800 US. Also unveiled and both priced at about $250 US, an entry-level watch and AirPods with heart rate sensing and translation capabilities. Apple was widely expected to raise prices to offset tariffs of about 25% on its phones. But neither Google nor Apple have opted for a significant price hike.
But if Apple doesn't take the bait and Apple holds the line on prices, that now pushes other major technology manufacturers to do the same.
It's incredible to be among everyone here, particularly you and the First Lady.
CEO Tim Cook was among the tech billionaires attending a special dinner at the White House last week.
I want to thank you for setting the tone such that we could make a major investment in the United States and have some key manufacturing, advanced manufacturing here.
But Apple continues to make devices in China and India. And despite Cook's pledges to invest billions in the American economy on cutting-edge AI technology, many analysts are skeptical that will revive homegrown manufacturing.
More investments in AI data centers is likely, in fact, to lead to fewer jobs as AI and technology eat up jobs, replace jobs.
This is an industry where you got to move fast and break things, and Apple isn't moving fast enough for some.
Apple was supposed to unleash an AI-enabled assistant Siri, but that rollout has been delayed. At a time when rivals are moving swiftly with AI, Apple risks being left behind. Ann Gaviola, Global News, Toronto.
Vancouver-based Tech Resources and British multinational Anglo American are set to merge operations in one of the mining sector's largest ever acquisitions. The two companies agreed to a merger of equals and will create a new company called Anglo Tech. The all-share merger is said to be worth $50 billion. They say the company will remain headquartered in Canada and will become one of the world's largest producers of copper. The deal will now be reviewed by the federal government. That could take 18 months. Camera controversy still ahead. Why these speed enforcement tools are under scrutiny and attack in Toronto. A vandalism spree is targeting Toronto's automated speed enforcement cameras and fueling a fiery debate. Some say the cameras are a critical road safety tool, while others argue the cameras are a cash grab. Eric Sorensen reports on the road rage and how other municipalities are responding to speeders.
Hooligans keep knocking them down. Overnight, 16 speed enforcement cameras in Toronto were damaged. This one's been smashed 7 times. Police are investigating all of them. A security camera spotted the shadowy figures who took down one of them.
With the cameras, I see them constantly knocked over, and with drivers, I see, 80 kilometers on Cosmore at night. So,
in spite of vigilante vandalism, the speed camera on this road has led to thousands of tickets, amounting to millions of dollars in fines. Some drivers think the city is just trying to make money, and they have an ally in Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
It's just a tax grab. And they should take out those cameras, all of them.
But Toronto's mayor wants the cameras to stay.
Speed kills.
Olivia Chow points to a study of some 250 Toronto school zones that showed cameras reduced speeding by 45%. Most drivers dropped their speeds over 10 kilometers an hour.
Speed cameras work. What does it do? It actually slows people down.
This is a street where I got a speed camera ticket one night a couple of years back, doing about 10 kilometers an hour over the limit in a 30 zone. The reason for the camera? There's a school. The result? I've learned to keep my speed down, which was the intended effect. Lots of big cities have speed cameras. In the Vancouver area, you can find a map online to show you where they are. In Montreal, with the start of school, police were out in force because the city has only 9 speed cameras. The mayor wants 250, and the police back that idea.
In Montreal, when you have a radar, the people who are driving change the behavior because they don't know if they're going to be cut.
With so many vehicles going over the speed limit, one analyst who used to oppose cameras now sees the necessity.
It's a team sport. We all have to be doing something predictable, and we have to be able to rely on each other to keep each other alive. And driving the speed limit is not too big an ask.
Some people want more police patrols to discourage speeders, but that costs too. Ontario's premier wants bigger signs in school zones, but what he doesn't want are cameras. Cities should get rid of them, he says, or
I'm going to help them get rid of them very shortly.
Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
A rare rescue in Manitoba. Up next, a baby lynx gets a new home with a new lease on life. Welcome back. In Manitoba, a new patient is being cared for at a wildlife rehabilitation center. And for staff there, it's a first. An orphaned baby lynx was brought in just over a week ago under sad circumstances, but it's now thriving in its temporary new home. Melissa Ridgen brings us the wild kitten's survival story.
This was the scene a week ago at Wildlife Haven Rehabilitation Center just outside of Winnipeg.
About a week and a half ago, we received the very first baby lynx patient in Wildlife Haven history in 41 years.
Residents of a northern Manitoba town found her in dire circumstances.
They actually found the baby lynx cornered by a pack of dogs. Suspect the mother was killed by that same pack, and she died, protecting this tiny baby.
A trucker brought her on the 10-hour drive south to the rehabilitation center. A thorough checkup was the first order of business.
She does have an eye injury that we discovered that, in fact, we're going to do surgery.
And the patient was ravenous. Nothing a bird and rat feast couldn't fix. Staff here have gone all in on making sure she feels at home.
We checked in on her first thing this morning and got to work setting up a bigger room for her. We added a lot of outdoor touches like pine cones, branches, and spots to climb and explore.
The hope is she'll be ready to be released back into the wild next spring.
We want to make sure that she's strong enough, that she's able to hunt, that she's able to evade predators, and all those things that a baby lynx should learn from their mom. We're going to try to do here, and being very, very careful that she doesn't become used to humans as her caregivers.
Thanks to non-intrusive cameras, her journey is one for all to enjoy, thanks to the magic of social media. Melissa Ridgen, Global News, Île-des-Chênes, Manitoba.
Pretty cute. That is Global National for this Tuesday. I'm Jeff Semple. Tonight's Your Canada showcases Kamloops Lake near Kamloops, BC, the Assiniboine Park Pavilion in Winnipeg, and Prospect, Nova Scotia. Keep them coming. Send your pictures of Canadian pride to Global National at globalnews.ca. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you back here again tomorrow. Have a great night.